Hey guys, today I want to talk about perspective. So at the Create Your Fortune podcast, we're always talking with people about health, wealth, family, and the one thing we all have in common is, we're out there trying to create a better life for ourselves. And it could be changing our mindsets, building better relationships with our families. It could be creating wealth to give us a little bit more financial security. But the common bond we all have, the listeners and the hosts, is that we're trying to be better, right? And some people are okay with where they are, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're striving to make change, to create a better life for yourself, then the podcast is great for you, right? And so we had a really cool Zoom call the other day with about 50 people on there. And again, the commonality amongst all of us, regardless of if you are a fast food worker or a multimillionaire, is that we're all trying to create a better life in some way, shape, or form. The cool thing about the Create Your Fortune podcast is that it's about health, wealth, family. It's not just about making money, right? And, money doesn't define you. Many of us can be better in many segments of our life. So what I want to talk a little bit about today was just the perspective and just thinking in terms of like the last 100 years and not worrying so much about the doom and gloom that you're seeing on the news, right? Real estate prices are falling, interest rates are at an all-time high, the Dow dropped 800 points, etc. So what, right? So what? You saw what happened during COVID, and everything kind of sort of worked out just fine. The economy actually exploded like crazy, far different than what everybody thought, right? And of course, now we're going to have a slowdown. We had, 10, 12, 15 years of really low interest rates and, a booming economy for the most part, really low unemployment. So of course, it's going to correct itself a little bit. But as long as you're smart about your money, your decisions, and keeping your mind on track, you're going to be just fine, because you got to think about it as a marathon, right? It's not a race. I mean, life is made up of many moments, right? So you think about your financial future, well, think about your life. If you lived in the worst moments of your life every day, you'd be miserable, right? You'd be depressed. It would be chaos. Nobody does that, right? Nobody lives in one moment in their life. They have good moments, they have bad moments, they have mediocre moments, and we just sort of plug along. But it's 70, 80, 90 years of life that we have to think about, not the doom and gloom of now. It's very rare that you see newscasters get on the news and say, oh my gosh, someone turned 65 and now they have arthritis, or oh my gosh, someone turned 20 and now they've got to be thinking about college, they're out of high school and what are they going to do, or oh my gosh, somebody just got broken up with, their life is over. No, of course not, because it's just a moment in time. So let's think about perspective, right? Throughout our lives, we're all going to have health issues, we're going to have challenges, right? We're going to have to overcome those adversities. It's no different than the economic situation that we're in right now. If you actually listen to the long-term forecasters, they're going to tell you that interest rates are going to skyrocket so that it can lower the inflation, basically stymie all of this growth and buying that we've had going on. And then eventually it's going to come back down. Well, the question is when, right? When is it going to come back down? Well, a lot of forecasters are saying that it could be as soon as 12 to 18 months. So maybe it goes up like crazy, 75 basis points, and the interest rates go really high. Well, don't go buy a car right now, right? Maybe don't go buy a house. Don't charge up your credit cards. Just hunker down, worry about your food and shelter, right? Your apartment or the food that you need, and stop buying for now if that's what it's going to take, right, to make you feel better. And then those interest rates are going to come back down. Now, historically, over let's say the last 30 years, interest rates have been about 7.5%. So right now they're still at historic lows. Let's say they go to 8 or 9 or 10%, it's going to be short-lived. And you can always refinance if you did decide to buy a house or a car or something like that. And you can handle those payments with a higher interest. But it's not the end of the world. It's going to calm down. Now, of course, inflation is really high, and it's got to slow down because people can't afford it, and wages are not keeping up with inflation, right? But you're seeing an uprising of unions and all kinds of stuff going on out there. You are seeing raises kind of go up. Wages go up. You're seeing that a little bit. It probably won't catch inflation, but inflation is going to come back down. So it's all going to kind of work out. Again, though, you have to be smart with your money, right? You have to hunker down. You have to be smart with your investing decisions, right? And now really is the time, if you do have money and you're looking to maybe put it somewhere, while the stock market is crashing, it is the time that you want to start dumping a little money in there if you're happy with those, let's say 30-year average set 7% returns. Or if maybe you're looking at getting into real estate, this is a good time, right? If you want to get into passive real estate investing and invest there. Everyone needs a place to live, so real estate is a good place to park your money, and it's a tangible asset, right? You can put your hands on it, so that's a good way. I mean, maybe you want to dabble in Bitcoin, although that's crashed quite badly, but you've seen over the last several years that it's been going. It goes up and it goes down pretty dramatically. That's why you can't be caught up in the current moment. You've got to be thinking about the marathon, right? And you always want to diversify. So the other thing you could do is you could just sit on your money. If you do have a little bit of money to invest, you could just sit on it for a while and wait and see what happens. But there's a good chance in the next 18 to 24, maybe at the latest 36 months, that things are going to start to correct, come back up, and then we're going to be talking about how this was just a blip on the radar and everything is fine again, right? If you look back at history, the last 9 times that the Fed has messed around with interest rates and whatnot, it's always been fine. As a matter of fact, after it comes down, the interest rates come down dramatically, and the economy usually booms right after they stymie all the growth. So again, just focus on the marathon and not the race, right? And I talked about in the beginning of this video, perspective, right? You got to put in perspective. As I said, you could look at your life experiences, you could look at your health, you could look at family members that have lived through Great Depressions and multiple recessions and ask them, hey, what do you remember about this? They're going to tell you the same thing. Well, it was kind of chaotic and everybody freaked out, and then it kind of got back to normal and everybody was fine. But it's about the personal decisions that you make, right? It's about how you spend your money. It's about how you invest your money. And it's about your mindset. And I know that's an overplayed word, right? Your mindset, but it's critically important. Think about that for a second. How do you overcome challenges in your life in general? How do you get through adversity? Well, you try to think about the positive, right? You try not to think about the negative. You try to think, well, this is just a short-term thing and I'm going to get through it. And eventually you do. And what's really interesting is if you think back about all the craziness in your life, let's say, because everybody has those crazy moments, and you think back about those moments, they either crushed you or they inspired you to be better, especially when you look back at those moments and think about them and you say, man, I got through that no problem, right? It was no big deal. So I just want to encourage you guys to really research the historical trends with this type of an economy and just kind of look forward and think about the marathon and not the rat race, right? Get yourself out of the current moment and be thinking long term, because this is all going to work out just fine. And I'm sure there's going to be some hardships for a lot of people, right? Obviously, inflation is causing food costs and fuel and whatnot to go up, although fuel seems like it's going down. This too shall pass, and you're going to start to see inventory levels climbing with manufacturers and probably prices going down. So there's going to be some good buys if you do have some money, right? Real estate, there's still a massive shortage. So if you're waiting on single families, let's say, probably a mistake, because I don't see the prices dropping dramatically. Multifamily, I don't see the prices dropping dramatically. Again, just a massive supply and demand out there for it, issue anyways, or a huge delta. But you never know. You might find some buyers out there that are just really looking to dump their properties, and you can find a good opportunity. Again, you just want to do your research, right? You want to always make sure that you're putting some time and energy into anything, whether it's developing your mind or it's looking to buy something, or even in your investments, right? So I always encourage people to diversify, but for the most part, these tumultuous times, this chaos, is actually the best time to invest in stuff. So whether you're looking at Bitcoin or the stock market, or let's say multifamily real estate, this is actually the time you want to start getting in. You want to start buying on the dips. Any professional or multimillionaire will tell you, you buy on the dips, right? That's where the opportunities are, because everything eventually comes back up. While there might be some short-term pain, it all comes back up. If you look at even, like, let's say the 30-year historical averages on single-family homes, it's staggering. I mean, it literally goes like this. While there are little dips, it goes up. I mean, you might have bought a house for $80,000 back in the 70s or so, and that same house is probably worth $500,000 today. So you tell me if it's negative or positive, right? At any rate, check out the Create Your Fortune podcast. There's lots of great episodes on there. We talk about everything: health, wealth, family. We tell stories. We hear people's stories, and we just try to share what we're learning, whether it be the economy or mindset stuff, or just to try to help encourage people to try to build a better life, right? And it's not all about money. It's about family, health, and of course, wealth helps you to be a little more comfortable, especially as you get into your later years. So at any rate, I just wanted to give you a little different perspective, something to think about. This beautiful view out on the Puget Sound. It's amazing out here. And as I was walking around the park today, it just got me thinking a little bit about all the chaos and noise when I turned the news on in the morning. And then I came out here and I started looking at all this beautiful nature, and I started thinking about all the people out here at the park walking around, and all the joy and the kites and the kids and the dogs. And I started thinking, I wonder how many of these people are freaking out right now about interest rates, or I wonder how many of these people are sitting there thinking about their stock market portfolio or their real estate or whatever it is. And I thought, probably not many of them are thinking at all about that. They're actually thinking about the more important things, which is the beauty of nature and their health and their family and their animals, and that's what we really should be focused on, not all this noise that we see out in the media. So at any rate, I hope everybody has a fabulous day. I hope you enjoyed the view behind me. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's not fake. I'm actually sitting right on the waterfront. It's amazing. Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe and like the channel. Share with your friends. Thanks.